Have you ever looked at your bank account and wondered how long it would actually take to double that money? Or have you ever been pitched an investment opportunity and felt completely lost trying to figure out if it was actually worth your time and hard-earned cash? Most people have absolutely no idea how to quickly calculate investment returns in their head, and that lack of knowledge costs them thousands, sometimes even hundreds of thousands of dollars over their lifetime, because they either miss out on great opportunities or fall victim to terrible ones. There's this incredibly powerful tool that wealthy investors and financial advisors have been using for decades, and it's so simple that you can literally do the math in your head in less than 5 seconds. Yet somehow 90% of Americans have never even heard of it. According to a recent study by the FINRA Investor Education Foundation, only about 34% of Americans can correctly answer basic financial literacy questions, and when it comes to understanding compound interest and investment growth, that number drops even lower to around 20%. This means that 8 out of 10 people are making financial decisions without understanding one of the most fundamental concepts in wealth building, and that's exactly why so many people work their entire lives and still end up struggling financially in retirement. The tool I'm talking about is called the Rule of 72, and once you understand how it works, you'll never look at investments the same way again, because you'll be able to instantly evaluate whether an opportunity is worth pursuing or if someone is trying to sell you a complete fantasy. The beauty of this rule is that it doesn't require a calculator, it doesn't require a finance degree, and it doesn't require hours of complex analysis. Because it's literally just one simple division problem that gives you an incredibly accurate estimate of how long your money will take to double at any given interest rate. Now, before we dive into exactly how this works and how you can use it starting today, let me give you some context about why this matters so much in your financial life. The average American household has about $5,300 in their savings account, according to the Federal Reserve's most recent data. And most of that money is sitting in traditional savings accounts, earning somewhere between 0.01% and maybe 0.5% interest if they're lucky. At those rates, using the Rule of 72, you would discover that your money would take somewhere between 144 years to 7,200 years to double, which essentially means your money is actually losing value every single year when you account for inflation. On the flip side, if you invested that same money in a diversified portfolio that historically returns around 7 to 10% annually, which is roughly what the stock market has averaged over the past century, your money could double in just 7 to 10 years, and then double again in another 7 to 10 years after that, creating exponential growth that transforms modest savings into substantial wealth over time. This is the difference between people who retire comfortably and people who work until they physically can't anymore. And it all comes down to understanding this one simple mathematical principle and actually applying it to your financial decisions. The Rule of 72 works because of the mathematical properties of compound interest, where your money doesn't just earn returns on your original investment, but it also earns returns on all the previous returns you've accumulated, creating this snowball effect that accelerates dramatically over time. Albert Einstein allegedly called compound interest the eighth wonder of the world and said that those who understand it earn it, while those who don't understand it pay it. And whether or not he actually said those exact words, the sentiment is absolutely true. Because the difference between understanding and not understanding this concept is literally the difference between financial freedom and financial struggle. So here's exactly how the Rule of 72 works, and I promise you are going to be shocked at how simple this is once you see it broken down. You take the number 72 and divide it by the annual interest rate or return percentage that you're earning on your money, and the answer tells you approximately how many years it will take for your investment to double in value. For example, if you have money in an investment that earns 8% per year, you simply divide 72 by 8, which equals 9, meaning your money will double in approximately 9 years. If you're earning 12% returns, you divide 72 by 12, which equals 6, so your money doubles in roughly 6 years. If you're only earning 3%, you divide 72 by 3, which equals 24, meaning it takes 24 years for your money to double, which is a massive difference compared to the higher return scenarios. This formula works in reverse too, so if someone tells you that their investment strategy will double your money in 5 years, you can divide 72 by 5 to get 14.4, which means they're claiming they can deliver 14.4% annual returns. And then you can ask yourself if that's realistic or if they're overselling their capabilities. The Rule of 72 isn't perfectly precise, especially at very high or very low interest rates, but for most common investment returns between about 6 and 15%, it's remarkably accurate and usually within just a few months of the actual mathematical calculation. The reason this rule uses 72 specifically is because 72 has many divisors, including 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 8, 9, 12, 18, 24, 36, and 72 itself, which makes the mental math much easier compared to using the actual logarithmic formula that would give you a slightly more precise answer, but would require a calculator and several minutes of your time. Now let's talk about how you can actually use this in your real life to make better financial decisions and potentially save or earn yourself tens of thousands of dollars over the coming years. First, you should immediately calculate how long it's taking your current savings to double by looking at the interest rate your bank is paying you. And I'm willing to bet that for most people watching this video, that number is going to be somewhere between 100 and 300 years, which should be a massive wake-up call that your money is essentially doing nothing for you right now. According to the FDIC, the average interest rate on savings accounts in the United States is currently around 0.46%, which means using the rule of 72, it would take approximately 156 years for your money to double. And by that time, inflation will have destroyed about 95% of your purchasing power anyway. This is why financial advisors constantly tell people to invest rather than just save. Because even a conservative investment portfolio earning 5 to 6% annually will double your money in 12 to 14 years, and a more aggressive portfolio earning 8 to 10% could double it in 7 to 9 years. Second, you can use the rule of 72 to evaluate different investment opportunities that come your way and instantly determine if they're promising realistic returns or if someone is trying to sell you a fantasy. If someone approaches you with an investment opportunity and promises that your money will double in 2 years, you can immediately calculate that they're claiming to deliver 36% annual returns, which should raise massive red flags because that's extremely rare and usually involves either tremendous risk or it's an outright scam. The infamous Bernie Madoff promised consistent returns of around 10 to 12% every single year, regardless of market conditions, which seemed reasonable on the surface. But the consistency and lack of volatility should have been a warning sign because legitimate investments go through ups and downs. Third, you can use this rule to set realistic financial goals and timelines for yourself based on different savings and investment strategies. If you're 30 years old right now and you start investing $300 per month into a retirement account that averages 8% returns, you can calculate that your money will double approximately every 9 years. So by age 39, your contributions plus growth might reach a certain level. By age 48, it doubles again. By age 57, it doubles once more. And by age 66, you could potentially have a substantial retirement nest egg built up entirely from consistent moderate contributions and the power of compound growth. Let me show you some real-world examples that demonstrate just how powerful this concept becomes when you actually apply it to your financial life over extended periods of time. Let's say you're 25 years old and you manage to save and invest $10,000 into a diversified index fund that historically returns about 9% annually, which is slightly below the stock market's long-term average of around 10%. So we're being conservative with our estimates here. Using the rule of 72, we divide 72 by 9 to get 8, meaning your money doubles every 8 years. By age 33, your $10,000 becomes $20,000. By age 41, that $20,000 becomes $40,000. By age 49, you're at $80,000. By age 57, you're at $160,000. By age 65, when most people retire, you're at $320,000. And you didn't add a single penny beyond that initial $10,000 investment. Now imagine if instead of just making that one initial investment, you continued adding just $300 per month, which is about $10 per day, or the cost of eating out for lunch a couple times, and you maintained that discipline for 40 years. According to compound interest calculators, you would end up with approximately $1.3 million by retirement age. And about $850,000 of that would be growth from compound interest rather than your actual contributions. This is why starting early matters so incredibly much, because that first decade of investing is worth more than the last 2 decades combined due to the exponential nature of compound growth. The difference between someone who starts investing at 25 versus someone who starts at 35 is often several $100,000, even if the person who started later tries to catch up by investing more money each month. According to research from Vanguard, the median retirement account balance for Americans aged 65 and older is only about $70,000, which is absolutely nowhere near enough to fund a comfortable retirement that could last 20 or 30 years. This happens because most people either start too late, don't invest aggressively enough, or keep their money in accounts earning essentially nothing, and they never run the rule of 72 calculation to realize how far behind they're falling. Now let's talk about the flip side of this equation, which is how the rule of 72 applies to debt. Because understanding this concept isn't just about growing your wealth, it's also about avoiding the traps that destroy wealth. If you carry a credit card balance at 18% interest, which is actually below the current national average of around 20 to 24%, you can divide 72 by 18 to discover that your debt doubles every 4 years if you're only making minimum payments. This means if you have $5,000 in credit card debt and you're not aggressively paying it down, that debt becomes $10,000 in 4 years, $20,000 in 8 years, and $40,000 in 12 years, which is absolutely catastrophic for your financial future. According to the Federal Reserve, the average American household with credit card debt carries a balance of around $6,000, and at typical interest rates, that debt is doubling faster than most people's savings are growing, which creates a widening gap that becomes harder and harder to escape. This is why every financial expert tells you to pay off high-interest debt before you even think about investing, because eliminating 18% debt is mathematically equivalent to earning 18% returns on an investment, which is incredibly difficult to achieve consistently in the stock market. The Rule of 72 also helps you understand why small differences in interest rates matter enormously over long time periods. The difference between earning 7% and 8% might not sound like much, but using the Rule of 72, we can see that 7% means your money doubles every 10.3 years, while 8% means it doubles every 9 years. And over a 40-year investing career, that 1 percentage point difference could mean the difference between your money doubling 4 times versus 4.4 times, which translates to hundreds of thousands of dollars in additional wealth. So here's what I want you to do right now, today, before you even finish watching this video. First, calculate how long your current savings are taking to double and ask yourself if that's acceptable. Second, research investment options that could give you better returns while matching your risk tolerance. Third, if you have any high-interest debt, calculate how quickly that debt is doubling and make a plan to eliminate it as fast as possible. And fourth, start investing consistently every single month, even if it's just $50 or $100, because the sooner you start, the more times your money will double before you need it in retirement. The Rule of 72 is one of those rare pieces of knowledge that's both incredibly simple and incredibly powerful. And now that you understand it, you have no excuse for leaving your financial future to chance. If you found this valuable and you want more content that breaks down complex financial concepts into simple, actionable strategies, make sure you subscribe to this channel and hit that notification bell, because I'm releasing new videos every single week that could literally change your financial trajectory. Your future self will thank you for the knowledge you're gaining today and the actions you take because of it.